Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of New River Middle School's Bleacher Feature, where we bring you some of the most rewarding career pathways connected to physical education.
Today with us, we have Mr. Kevius Morgan, who happens to be a New River alumni. So he did attend New River in middle school. And Mr. McBride, if you want to give us a quick intro to Mr. McBride, and then we're going to pass it right over to Mr. Morgan so he can start telling you guys all about what he's doing, where he's come from. And he probably doesn't remember, but he was one of my students.
Do you remember? O'Fallon, yes I do.
Until I saw your picture this morning when I was putting together a slideshow, I was like, he looks familiar. Now he might, it's all coming back to him now. Look at his face. Look at his face. All right. So Mr. McBride, why don't you introduce Mr. Morgan, say how you kind of met him, and then we'll pass it over to Mr. Morgan, and he can start telling us a little bit about what he's up to, and then we'll have time for Q&A in a little bit. So I'm going to turn off my mic and let you go.
Okay, well, it brings me extreme pleasure to bring Mr. Kevius Morgan over to the school to share with the kids a little bit about his journey. It's exceptional. He came to middle school here, and he went up to the highest level of sports. At the end of the day, he fell back on his education, and he started working as a professional, and that's what he's going to share here with you guys today. He went through all levels. He's been in the same gym that you guys are in right now. He's been to the NFL, and now he's working as a professional. Like I say, he found a way to fall back on his education. So I'm going to let Mr. Morgan expand a little bit more about what he's doing right now.
Good morning. I appreciate you. Mr. McBride. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Ms. Fallon. Thank you for the opportunity. To the New River family, to everybody at New River Middle School, man, I really appreciate just the opportunity to not only come speak to you guys, but just spend the time with you, during such a special time where so much things are going on around the world, COVID-19, so many things that we're going up against. I think one of the biggest things that you really got to focus on is family. And for me, New River Middle School is family. It's really where I got my start at. It's really where I started out. And I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for New River Middle School, if it wasn't for people like Ms. O'Fallon, people like Mr. McBride, and just the entire, staff at New River Middle School. I'm sure the staff has changed, but in order to work at New River, man, you got to be a hell of a person, man, because it's a great school, it's a great opportunity, a great place to be. Can y'all turn your cameras on? Y'all turn your cameras on for me. Just a few people. I just want to see a couple of y'all faces. Just a couple of y'all faces if you can for me. Just a couple of y'all. Whoever can turn it on for me, turn your cameras on. Yes, sir. Just turn it on. All right, guys. So my name's Kevius Morgan. I was born and raised in Broward County, Florida. I played Little League football at Western Tigers football. Born and raised right off Sunrise Boulevard. So I grew up right here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I had the opportunity to go to New River Middle School. I was in the Marine Science Magnet program. I studied there at the Marine Science Magnet program for 3 years, and I continued on to go to South Broward High School at the Marine Science Magnet program. So I spent 8 years in total, 3 years in middle school and then 4 years in high school. So the Marine Science program, it was a great opportunity for me. Number one, the biggest opportunity that it possessed for me was to leave my area where I grew up at. I grew up off Sunrise Boulevard, exit 29. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. If you know about New River, it's off Davie, so it's about 3 or 4 exits from my neighborhood. So joining the magnet program, the magnet program, the bus pick you up and bring you to school, and you outside of your area, whatever. And I, for the first time ever, I went to Lauderdale Manors Elementary, which is right there in my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Right there, it's right there, like 3 streets over from my grandma's house. Like, it's my neighborhood, all my friends, everything. On New River Middle School, the first time that I had to go outside myself. I was at a new school. I didn't know nobody there. I didn't have any friends and none. So I really just had to learn. I had to grow. I had to go outside myself for the first time ever. I was uncomfortable. I was very uncomfortable because I was in a position where I was a little man on campus again. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knew me. Nobody from the neighborhood. I didn't have any stripes or anything. I literally had to go to a school, make all new friends. I had to learn all over again. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much what New River showed me was it's okay to start over. It's okay to do something different. A lot of my friends, they were just going to the regular middle school down the street or whatever, but I was in the magnet program. And like when I was going to school, the magnet program was like getting accepted to a magnet program was like getting accepted to like the top colleges and universities. It was like you're selective, like you're exceptional. And for me, when I got to New River Middle School, it really broke me outside my shell. You know what I'm saying? I had never been on overnight field trips. I had never even knew what marine science was. I didn't even know there was a study of water. So really, I found myself in this uncomfortable place. It was so foreign to me, but in reality, it made me grow and really learn about myself and become a better individual and human being. So like I told y'all, I went to New River Middle School. I left New River Middle School. I graduated in 2008. I don't know, Ms. Fallon, do you have those pictures? Do you have those pictures from the PowerPoint I sent you? I don't know if you guys can see that or if they're displaying it. But I sent Coach some pictures, Mr. McBride and Ms. Fallon some pictures. Just to show.
Grab them up here in a second. Well, hold on one second, Kevius. I'll grab them right now.
All good. Cool. So I went to New River Middle School. I ran track there. I was in the marine science program. I played flag football and I ran track, basketball, flag football, and I was in the marine science program. It was a great opportunity. So I left New River Middle School. I went on to South Broward High School. I graduated from New River in 2008. I graduated from South Broward in 2012. And I was in the marine science magnet program. I graduated with a marine science certificate as well, certification for, finishing the program, 8 years total. And going through life, I played football. Football was always my first love. So I was a football player at South Broward High School. I started on the varsity team my freshman year. I played ball. And pretty much for me, all life was for me was football and education. That was it. That's all my parents preach. Sports, education. Sports, education. Either you can catch me in the classroom or you can catch me on the football field. Nowhere else. You wouldn't catch me in the streets. You wouldn't catch me here. You wouldn't catch me in the clubs hanging out, the all-nighters. That just wasn't what my parents were doing. They same way they removed me from my neighborhood and they took me and sent me to a school in an entire different neighborhood. That was the reason why. So I could learn about myself, learn new people. Oh, okay, here we go. So look, if y'all can see right here, guys, this me right here. This back then we were called the New River Mariners. New River Mariners. This is me back in the day playing basketball. I ran track like I told y'all. So I just wanted to, share a little bit of that so to let y'all know that I'm just not anybody who just up here talking to y'all. I'm just not anybody who up here just came to speak, waste your time or whatever. I'm somebody who actually was in the classrooms that you're sitting in. I played the sports you're playing. I've walked the hallways that you walk. I ate the food that you eat. I've done everything that you could possibly do at New River School. I did it. I've experienced it. So I just wanted to, let y'all know. I dropped those photos because I know oftentimes y'all people talk to y'all and tell y'all what's going on in the world and things seem so far-fetched. But I want to let y'all know that there's no such thing as so far-fetched. I am a living proof. I'm a living proof and living example of that. If you come from an area, you know what I'm saying, who isn't the best area in the world, or you don't necessarily know what your future or your vision looks like, as long as you have good work ethic, you got faith, you have a plan, you actually want to go somewhere and you actually want to do something, anything is possible. Okay. So I went to New River Middle School. I went to South Broward High School. So going through high school, I was playing football my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I really just wanted to go to school on a full ride education. That was my goal. I just wanted a full scholarship. I wanted to play ball. That's what I wanted to do. So I went to South Broward, played 4 years of varsity football. I ultimately ended up signing with West Virginia Wesleyan College, a small Division II university. We all good? It's a small Division II university in West Virginia Wesleyan College in Buckhannon, West Virginia. Went out there, played ball my freshman year. I really didn't like it. It was different. It was really cold. It was snowy. It was dreary. It was all the way up in the mountains. It was very hard to breathe. And I remember after the first semester, I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I'm ready to come home. I just want to come home. I can't do this. I can't. Like, it's hard. It's tough. It's too cold out here. I just can't do it, Mom. So I ended up leaving after my first semester of college. I came back home. So here I am. I got a full ride scholarship. I go to college on a football scholarship, and I'm going to do my thing. And then I get there, and I hate it. It's not what I thought it was going to be. So I pack up. I come home. I moved back home to Broward County, Florida in 2012. Late spring 2012. I moved back home to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I'm here. I just gave up my football scholarship. I'm like, what am I going to do? My mom was like, look, I'm going to give you like 2 or 3 months. After these 2-3 months, I need you to figure out what it is you're going to do, because you're going back to college, whether you're playing football or not. You're going to finish and get your education. So here I am. I have 1 semester of college under my belt. I don't know what college I want to go to. All I want to do is play ball. All I want to do is leave Florida. I just don't know what to do. So I remember vividly when I came home, I had to work, and I was a lifeguard for the city of Fort Lauderdale. I was cleaning the pool deck, cleaning the pools, you know what I'm saying? And then what happened? I went to as a lifeguard, you got to clean the pool deck, you got to clean the whole facility. I was cleaning the bathroom, right? So when I'm cleaning the bathroom, I remember this kid came in there, he like vomited all over the bathroom. But you know, this is my job. I'm like, I got to clean it up. Like, this is my job. This is all I have. I gave up what I had over there. I gave it up because I didn't like it. It was uncomfortable. I gave it up. Instead of fighting through, I gave it up. And I remember vividly cleaning up, you know, wiping up, cleaning all that. And I said to myself, I'm like, yo, this is not the life I want to live. Like, I didn't get a full ride scholarship to be cleaning up, you know, toilets and, you know, be doing all this other stuff. That's not why I went to New River Middle School and studied 3 years of marine science and then another 4 years of marine science at Southborough High School and graduated cum laude. That's not what I went to school for. So this is not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to settle. I'm going to learn how to be uncomfortable and grow. So the problem is with us, we get uncomfortable. And as soon as we get uncomfortable, we're racing to get comfortable again. And oftentimes what I want y'all to know is you got to like be uncomfortable to truly grow. In order to be who you want to be and get out of the world you want to get out. And if you've always done what you've always did, you always going to get what you've always got. You know what I'm saying? It's ludicrous to think that you're going to get a different result by doing the same thing. If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same thing. You want something different, you got to do something different. You got to try something different. So here I am. Fred, you know, I got 1 semester of college under my belt. I'm 19 years old. You know, I'm in between. I don't know what I want to do. So I told my mom, I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to lock in. I'm going to focus. That day, I went home that night. I made a schedule. I said, all you're going to do is you're going to work in the mornings. You're going to go to the library at night. You're going to go to Briar College, and you're going to pick up 3 credits so that you don't fall behind when you get back to your big university. And within a week, I went registered at Briar College. I was taking 3 credit classes. I was, you know, teaching swimming lessons and being a lifeguard by day, and I was training for football at night. Quarterbacks, running backs, whoever I could, any friends, just train with me, work out with me, because I just knew that another coach would call soon, and when he called, I would take the opportunity and I would go. So here I am. I fast forward. I'm home. I'm doing my thing, and then boom, I tell my dad, like, Pops, man, I'm ready to go to college, man. I need to get back to school, whatever. So here comes this college coach. He calls. His name is Mark James. He calls me. He's like, hey, Kevius, what's going on? He's like, your pops told me your situation. If you want a second chance, man, I got a scholarship for you. It's up here at Virginia University. I'm like, where's that? He's like, in Richmond, Virginia. I'm like, okay, never heard of it, but all right, I'll keep it in mind. He says, oh, no, look, buddy, I have 1 more scholarship left. If you want that scholarship, I need an answer right now. I said, well, I got to call you back. I need to call my dad. I call he says, well, look, I already talked to your dad, and your dad told me to call you. So what you going to do? So then I told him, I'm like, man, I don't know, you know, because in football, you're supposed to go visit the school, you're supposed to ask your mom, whatever. But this is what I want to tell you guys about faith and opportunity. Faith and opportunity. I didn't have another opportunity. You know what I'm saying? All I had was the pool deck and a job. That's all I had. I knew I wanted something more, but I had faith that it was going to come. See, oftentimes in life, you know, we see blessings and we see faith and we see things that we want. We see it, but we don't never see it coming to us. And oftentimes it comes to us and it gets to us. And what happens is y'all be like, oh, no, that's not how it looked in my vision. That's not how it looked. That's not what it is. And then we say, no, this ain't the blessing. It wasn't for me. And we throw it away. What I want you guys to understand is oftentimes things are never, ever going to look like what they look like in your head. But just because they don't look like what in their head, I still want you to be able to recognize a true blessing or recognize a true opportunity when you see it and take advantage of it. So here I am. Coach hangs up on me. Boom. I call my dad. Hey, Pops. Coach called me, say he want me to come play ball for him, man. He said, he got 1 scholarship left. What should I do? My dad like, hey, man, he said he got 1 scholarship left. He said, you got any more scholarships? I said, nah, only got 1 more. He's like, well, what you asking me for? It looks like you better take that last one. Signed it, took the opportunity, went to college. I didn't visit the school or nothing. I just signed it, got everything ready to go, and I just knew I was on a new team. I had a new opportunity in my education, and after I signed, the first thing he said to me was, he said, look, son, I don't know if you're going to go to the NFL here. He said, but I do know what you're going to do is you're going to get your degree and you're going to finish. He said, I don't know if you're going to be able to go to the NFL. He said, but I'm going to allow you to chase your football dreams. But one thing I do know is that you're going to graduate and you will leave here with a degree. He said, that's one thing I'm going to promise you. Here I am, fall of 2013. I go to Virginia Union University. I'm out there. I'm playing ball. Everything's going good, living life or whatever. I'm playing ball my freshman year, then my sophomore year, then my head coach get fired. So now my head coach gets fired, and I'm like, oh man, what am I gonna do now? I'm gonna go to another school, I'm gonna transfer or whatever. Nah. The reason why I didn't transfer was because I said, you know what, Key, you didn't just come here to play football. You're a student athlete. So yeah, your athletic side, everything not going the way it's going, but you still got classrooms, you still got deans, you still got facilitators, you still got people in the classroom, professors that are still counting on you to be a student athlete. So I decided, you know what, football isn't really going the way I wanted to go, so I'm gonna lock in on my on school. I did what I needed to do, locked in on school. You know, that's me at Southborough High School. That guy right there to the right, number 5. That guy right there to the right, number 5, that's Antonio Harris. That's my best friend. He also went to New River Middle School with me from 6th grade to 8th grade, and he went to Southborough High School with me from 9th grade to 12th grade. Still my best friend till this day. I get to college, you know, I started focusing on other things in school. I say, you know what, I'm gonna be more than a football player. I'm not just gonna come up here and just play ball. You know, I could do more than just play football. So I started getting curious. I started really figuring out, you know, what's out here on the college campus. How many people are familiar with fraternities, sororities, things of that nature? If you are, just click, you know, raise your hand in the chat if you're familiar with it. So boom, here I am. 2013, I'm at a new school, doing my thing, playing ball. Just came off my first season, whatever, and football is not really going well. So I started to amass myself into school. I started to really lock in on school. I started being like, you know what? Let's figure out what's on this campus. So boom. Started moving around, whatever. I started getting curious. I started joining this club. I started hosting this event. I started joining the Key Club. I became part of the Student Advisory Athletic Committee. I started joining all these other clubs because I said, you know what, Kevius? You don't want to just be known as just a football player. I want to be known as a football player, as a student, as a liaison, as an advisor. I want to be known as more than just one track. Then I move on from just being a ball player and I joined a fraternity. When I joined the fraternity, I ended up crossing Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated on Spring 14. I crossed over that fraternity and here I am in the New Life fraternity and I become the president on campus. So now I'm a captain on the football team. I'm a president for an organization, so I'm representing something outside of myself. And then I didn't know the Zeta chapter was the 6th oldest chapter of the entire fraternity. So here I am. I decided to not focus on football anymore and start focusing on school. And before you knew it, I'm walking myself into rooms that my name has been spoken into before I even got there. And I'm learning how to do other things other than football. And it's opening up other opportunities. And I'm going to tie this up to you guys. I'm going to tell you how important it is to always do more than just what you were set out to do. Football got me to Virginia University. Football took me around the world. Football took me all over to do so many different things in the world, right? But one thing that football didn't do, football didn't stay with me. It didn't guarantee that it was going to stay with me for life. That's one thing that football didn't do. It took me to all these places. It got me to college. It got me to high school. It did all that for me, but it didn't stay with me. So here I am. I graduated. I'm in college or whatever. I'm coming up on my senior year. So right after my junior year, I ended up having a freak accident. So here I am, you know, I'm in school, I'm chasing my degree, I'm coming up on my senior year, I'm getting ready to graduate, had the best football season I ever had, boom. My hand goes through a glass window on November 22nd, 2015. My hand went through a glass window. I lacerated my medial nerve. Pretty much, if you don't know about the medial nerve is the nerve that connects the entire hand. It gives you all the feeling and motor function in your hand. So here I am, I play wide receiver and quarterback on a high level. So I played college, I played high school, I played college. Boom, I'm here in college, I'm doing my thing, and I had a pretty good junior season. I'm like, you know what, senior season, here we come. Boom, what happens? Freak accident, hand goes through the glass window, lacerated my medial nerve. So I'm thinking it's just a regular cut or whatever. I'm gonna stitch it up, we're gonna be straight, coming back for next year. But what I didn't know was, not only had I lacerated my medial nerve, but I cut the motory tendons and I cut like 3 or 4 more arteries as well. My hand, I almost lost my hand for bleeding out. I ended up having surgery that night, and then the surgery wasn't the best, like fixed. It didn't fix all the problems out. I ended up having to go to surgery 5 weeks later, December 22nd. Go to surgery December 22nd, and the doctor pulls me and he says, "Look, man, I could save your hand, but I don't know if you'll ever be able to play football again." And I'm like, "What? I can't play football again. It's my whole life. That's who I am. That's what got me to where I needed to be." And in my mind, I always wanted to make it to the NFL. I always knew that I was going to be in the NFL. I always knew this. I knew that I was going to make it. But here I am. I got down on myself. I'm like, wow, I play wide receiver. I need my hands. But now I only got one hand. What am I going to do? And this is when I say God opened up opportunity to me. And, you know, I seen the window of opportunity. You know, my whole life was focused on football. And now the game left me. This is why it's always important to have other plans and other things to fall back on. Had I not joined my fraternity and had I not joined clubs in school, had I not, you know, introduced myself to professors and had I not even just turned my head to other interests, when the game of football was taken away from me, I wouldn't have had nothing to fall back on. So here I am, boom. The doctor tells me you're going to have surgery. And after you have surgery, you know, we don't know if you'll be able to play again, but most likely you probably not. So I go back to school my senior year and I'm like, I'm on campus now. Now I'm no longer a football player. I'm a former athlete. I'm just a student. I'm not a student athlete anymore. I'm just a student. So I had two choices. I could just be whatever and feel bad about it, or I can immerse myself in the school. I can really focus. I can lock in. I can unturn this stone. I can unturn this stone, unturn this stone. I can be curious. I can ask questions. I can figure out what more can I do other than football? Because I know that my purpose wasn't just here to play ball. Football got me here. Football got me in the door, but now I no longer got the game. Now I'm in the room. What am I going to do? You know what I decided? Remember I told you I took one semester off from school. So when I took one semester off, I was like four or five credits behind. So I wasn't going to graduate on time that year with my school. So I walked right across campus. I went to the advisor, say, look, I can't play football no more, you know, so I just want to make sure that I graduate on time with my class, you know. She says, well, Kevius, you're behind like 9 credits. He said, these classes aren't offered during, you know, certain times of the, you know, day. Or I went to a small school. So if you go to a big university, you can take pretty much any classes any semester. I went to a school with 2,500 people. So if they had that one class during fall, you couldn't take it till fall. There's no spring. You got to wait till fall next year. So if you know anything about credits or anything, this is why I talk about faith, hard work, endurance, and work ethic. Here I am, my senior year in college. I have a goal to graduate on time with my class, but I'm 5 to 6 credits behind. And they have already told me that the only way that I'm going to be able to finish is to take overloads and override. The average college student takes 4 to 5 classes, 3 to 4. I ended up taking my senior year both semesters, and I took summer school. I took a full load of summer school. That's 3 classes. I mean, that's 9 credits. That's 3 classes. They were 3 hours apiece, so 9 hours of class a day. Then I went to fall and spring. I think the average was like 16, 17. Each semester, I locked out 21 credits. Last semester, I locked out 22. The register lady came to me. She said, look, Mr. Morgan, I'm really not supposed to sign off on this form. She said, if you don't pass these classes and finish, I could get fired. Because we're not even supposed to load y'all up this much. I looked in her face and I said, look, man, I lost everything I could possibly lose already. I said, I don't got nothing else to lose. All I could do is finish. And I said, I promise you that if you sign off on this form and you help me graduate on time with my class, that I will come back in here with my degree and I'll finish. And from that simple conversation, and you know what she said? She said, usually I wouldn't do this for anybody. She says, but I've never seen an athlete want to be more than just an athlete around here. And she said, if I can help you be more than just an athlete, I'm going to do that, baby. Sign my form right there. Signed it right there. Boom. I took my form, went to the registrar office. Next thing you know, I had 8 classes each semester. It was bad because I had 2 10 o'clocks, 2 1 o'clocks, 2 11 o'clocks. I was calling teachers like, hey, look, I'm going to come to your class this day, but I'm going to come to this class this day. But I did it. I focused. And what the biggest part about it, and this is why I want to tie back to relationships and being good to the people at New River, being good to the people that you're around, is because in your hardest times in life and the times where you know that you got to go through some places and you got to do some uncomfortable things, you're not going to be able to do those things alone. It's going to be the people who are right there by you, your teachers, your professors, your advisors, your counselors. Those are going to be the people that push you through and get you going. Here I am, I graduated. Boom. I graduated May 2016. After I graduated, then I had the opportunity to, I got a phone call like 3 days after graduation. Dolphins called me. Hey, we want you to come home to Miami, work community youth programs. I left home in college. I went home and I worked for $8 an hour. It wasn't my ideal job, but I just knew that I wanted to be in the NFL. I didn't know how I wanted to be there. I just knew I wanted to be there. I wanted to be in the atmosphere. So here I am, graduated, moved back home to Florida. I got a degree. I'm working for the Miami Dolphins. Woo, Miami Dolphins. Oh, yeah, that's lit. But guess what? It's an internship. It's temporary. Guess what? It's only $8 an hour. But guess what? I knew I had a dream. I knew this is something that I wanted to do. So what did I do? I moved back home with my mom. I gave up my apartment in Virginia, moved back home. moved in with my mom, took $8 an hour, but I worked hard every day. Didn't know what's gonna happen after this internship. And Miami U community programs was not my degree. My degree was in communications and public relations. We do like broadcasting, journalism, TV, stuff like that. After that, I was working for the Dolphins. I'm in my head like, man, this is not what I really want to do, man, but this is my way in. Sometimes you're gonna have to do things you don't want to do to get to somewhere where you want to go. So here I am, I'm working community programs, I'm coaching kids, you know, whatever, but it's not what I want to do. But guess what? The Seattle Seahawks called me. They're like, hey, Kevius, we like your resume. You know, you don't have all the skills and everything to be a communications, you know, intern. She said, but the fact that you're already with an NFL team, that's all we need. We can teach you the rest. You have the experience. So had I not taken an internship that I really didn't necessarily like or glorify, I would have never had to really get the opportunity that I truly wanted, which is to go to Seattle and work public relations. So boom, I moved 2016. I leave the Miami Dolphins. I then go to the Seattle Seahawks. I spent the 2016-17 season with them, made a good playoff run or whatever. And after 2016-17, I had amassed a lot of different relationships. So this guy right here to the left, that's Alex Collins. That's my best friend. He actually, so the year that I accepted my internship for the Seattle Seahawks, he actually got drafted to the Seahawks. So here I am in Seattle with my best friend, you know, 2 kids, 21 years old, you know, 2 kids, 21 years old. We're in Seattle, Washington, and we're just living life. We're doing our thing. You know, we're having a great time. But the biggest thing about it was we were living our dreams. And had we not done things that we didn't want to do, had we not put ourselves in uncomfortable situations, had I not done all the things, you know, that I didn't want to do, like school and credits and overloading on classes and taking summer school, if I hadn't did all that, I wouldn't have made it here. This is my goal. I always said I wanted to be in the NFL, right? Well, guess what? I made it to the NFL, right? But the thing about making it to the NFL is what I tell y'all about the message. I always said I wanted to be in the NFL, right? But I never said how I wanted to be in the NFL. In my mind, I thought I wanted to play football. I thought that I wanted the ball and I wanted to be with the helmet on it. What I had to realize was that wasn't my calling. The Lord knew, and everybody else that was pouring into me, from my teachers at New River, from my teachers at South Broward, from my professors at Virginia, everybody knew that, yeah, this kid wants to play football, but he's just more than that. And sometimes in life, the world and the universe has a funny way of showing you that. I had to lose my hand to know that I'm bigger than football. And had I never got this injury, I would have never known that I could go to the NFL and I could work in public relations and I could work in the front office. I would have thought that the NFL was literally just football. I would have thought that the only way that I could have the NFL dream was to just play. And I'm super, super glad that I went through all the trials and tribulations I did, because they forced me to try other things, to do things that I never tried before and did before. And it actually paid off. And I actually want you to go back to that picture, Miss O'Fallon, to the guy to the right when the NFL pick. While I was there, I had the opportunity to build a lot of relationships with guys. I had the opportunity to grow with guys or whatever. And you know, in this right here, Alex Collins right there, he's with the Seattle Seahawks. He left the Seattle Seahawks. He went to Baltimore Ravens, became their starting franchise back, and he's actually back with the Seahawks. This guy right here in the picture to the right, that's my guy. His name is Frank Clark. Frank Clark is the defensive end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Just signed a $100 million deal earlier this year, and he used to play for the Seahawks as well. This guy right here, he was the guy who actually helped me open my agency. Between these 2 guys right here, they helped me open my agency. They told me after my internship was over with, I told them, like, man, my internship was over with. I don't really know what I want to do, man. I just know I got to find a job or whatever. You know what they told me? Everything you did here in this building for us, these are skills. Somebody's going to pay you for these one day. Somebody's going to reach out to you and you're going to build something. Which then brings me on to my next thing. I left the NFL and I decided, you know what? I got a lot of knowledge, got a lot of experience. You know what? Let's step out on faith. You already have the players. You already got the guys that you need. Why don't you get out here and start your own thing? What did I do? Boom. I jumped out and I started the ABiE agency in 2016. The ABiE agency was a small creative agency where I did creative marketing, brand development, and public relations, and I represented a few guys from the NFL. That's currently what I do now. I have I started my agency in 2016, and in 2016, I started in 2017. And so in 2017, I decided, I want to do a big project to launch my agency and do something big. And I was like, what better way to, do a large project and to give back, This is the neighborhood I grew up at. This is what I want to do, At this picture, I think I was like 22 years old, 23. And I just said, you know what? You worked in the NFL. You started your own company. You came from all these areas. You got to give back some way, shape, or form. How do I pour back into the people? So I decided, I got all my friends together. So you see this banner right here, it says sponsored by. All this is a collective of my friends, people I went to college with or whatever. And I told them, you know what, guys, let's do something for the community. Let's give back. So ABiE stands for, ABiE stands for Achieving is Believing, Innovation Causes Elevation. That's my agency. It's called the ABiE firm. We're a creative agency. We specialize in public relations, brand development, and creative marketing. I formerly worked for the Seattle Seahawks and Miami Dolphins, and I founded my firm because I work with a lot of NFL players, artists, entrepreneurs, small business owners. And my goal is to connect creative individuals of expanded backgrounds that share common likeness. Through achieving is believing, innovation causes elevation. And the reason that's my motto is because in order to achieve anything, you must wholeheartedly believe it. And once you get it in your hand, you understood that you achieved it and you believed it. Every day I want you to innovate it just a little bit, switch something up, change something, just a little bit. And the next day, I want you to take what you achieved, I want you to take what you believed, and I want you to innovate and innovate it, and next day I want you to elevate it. And I want you to apply that to your life. And the reason I want to apply that to your life, because ABiE, you can apply that to your life. Every day I want you to think of one thing that you can achieve. Think of one thing you can achieve. All my guys, all my NFL players, all the guys that I represent, every guy that you guys might look up to and see, I talk to him just like this. I call him on the phone and I say, hey, bro. Every morning I call all my guys. Good morning, bro. Hey, bro, think about one thing you want to achieve today. When you think about that, I want you to wholeheartedly believe it. But no, I don't want you to just believe it. I want you to believe it to the point where nobody in the world could tell you that it's not. That's how I want you to believe it, right? I want you to make it your own. I want you to hold on to it. I want you to make it yours. Don't let nobody take it from you. Don't let nobody take it from you. It's yours. Why? Because you thought about it in your brain. It came from you. Then I want you to go out and achieve it. Once you wholeheartedly believe it, once you go out and achieve it, right? You get it every day. Every day. If this is your baby and you're working on it, I want you to achieve it. I want you to believe it. Then every day, change one thing about it. Change one thing about yourself. Innovate one thing about yourself every day. Change one little thing, whether it was your attitude, whether it was you being late, whether it was your schedule, whether it was how you talked to somebody, whether it was how you said good morning. Change one thing about yourself that you know wasn't positive or wasn't going to contribute to you going to your next level. And guess what? After you achieved it, you believed it, you innovated a little bit, I want you to elevate it. And if you do that every day to one or two things in your life, you're going to be a better person. Every day, wake up, think about one thing you want to achieve. Then I want you to believe that. Then once you get it and you figured out what's good and what's bad, I want you to innovate it. And then once you get the goodness and the good and the bad out of it and you make it to how you want it, elevate it. And that you take that in your life every day and you move. And that's how I live. Every day I ABiE myself. I think of one thing I want to achieve, one thing I want to believe, I innovate it, and I figure out how to elevate it. And I feel like if you just apply those simple 4 letters to your life, you're going to be all right. Or you could take my other slogan. So achieving is believing, innovation causes elevation. That's one. Or you can write it straight out. ABiE, achieve it, believe it, innovate it, and elevate it. That's it. And that's my spiel, guys. Like I said, I grew up from New River Middle School. I went to New River Middle School. I went to Southbriar High School. I went on to college. I played ball. I got a full ride scholarship. I've done all the things that you could possibly do in life, man. I'm currently, right now, I have my agency. I also am a teacher. I work at Southbriar High School. Again, I work at Southbriar High School. I teach English and debate here. And I also have my creative agency where I represent, a plethora of athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, just selective of creatives around the world. But I want to leave y'all with this, man. I walked in the shoes y'all walked in. Like Ms. O'Fallon said, I was in her class one day, and I just want to say, man, the people that y'all got around y'all, man, the people that, is your collective and the people, you surround yourself with are who you're going to be. You're going to only be as successful as the closest 5 people to you. So I want you to look to your left and to your right, and I want you to think about your people that you keep around you, your crew, your crowd, and I want you to consider that the closest 5 people to you are who you're going to be. They're who you're going to be. So if you see 4 people who really aren't successful around you and you're the 4th one, you're the 5th one, you're going to be the 5th non-successful person. You got to surround yourself around people who want to see you grow, people who want to pour into you, and most importantly, people that believe into you. Because I wouldn't be the person I am today, and I wouldn't do any of the things that I wouldn't have done today if it wasn't for people like Ms. O'Fallon, if it wasn't people like Mr. McBride, if it wasn't for people like all my professors and my coaches and stuff like that. So I want to leave y'all with that. I want to tell y'all that I'm literally one of you guys just a few years in the future. That's all I am. I want you to ever think that nothing is not attainable. When I was in sitting in your seats at New River Middle School, I didn't think I would be working in the NFL and working with this guy and that person or whatever, but I had a dream and I had a vision, and I never let nobody starve me of that. And the reason why I never let nobody starve me of that is because of people like Miss O'Fallon, who always poured into my imagination, who always told me, no stupid question is a stupid question, just ask your question. For all the people who say, Mr. Morgan, you talk too much. You just always talking. All you do is talk. Well, that's my career. I work in public relations. That's all we do is talk. We work with people all day and we have relationships. But I want you guys to, I really wanted to touch you guys in and let you guys know that there's nothing that's not attainable. There's nothing that you cannot do. I am a mere example of that, man. I sat in the seats you sat in. I went to the school you went to. I did the things you do. I'm a New River Middle School Mariner, sharp at heart. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I hope I ain't talking your head off or whatever there. But if y'all got any questions, anything y'all want to know, just let me know.
What's the fastest 40 time that you've ever clocked at a
The
combine or testing?
The fastest 40 time I ever ran was at the Nike Combine in 2015. I ran a 4.56.
Wow.
4.56. That ain't fast, but it's all right.
So he probably remembers this gym.
Yeah, I do remember that gym.
I have a young man here. He wants to know what other sport were you motivated by and motivated you to play sports in your family?
Okay. You said what other sports was I motivated by? I really played ball. I played football. That was my main sport. But track, swimming was another one of mine. Track, swimming, because I was a lifeguard. So track, swimming, baseball, basketball. Those are like my other ones. And who motivated me to play sports? My dad. So my dad ran track and he played football. And my dad played for the Giants for 2 seasons. So yeah, he was like my main motivation. He pretty much just kind of instilled everything in me. He always told me that, remember, you're an athlete, but you're a student first. So student athlete. So he always told me that I could never ever play sports without education, or he would never even let me play sports without the education. So yeah, that was who motivated me, my pop.
Did you ever want a more realistic career?
A more realistic career? What do you mean by more realistic career?
More like, how do I?
You mean traditional?
Yeah.
So when you say traditional career, like teacher, firefighter, doctor, like stuff like that?
Yeah, I guess I
Nah. I always knew that I never thought I would be a teacher. I actually became a teacher because after I came back from the NFL and I opened my agency, I didn't feel whole. You know what I'm saying? I needed something to feel whole. I needed something to connect me, to make me not feel like, you gotta understand, when the people that I work with, they're celebrities, they work in this superficial world, and I needed something to make me feel real, to make me feel grounded, to make me feel like I was pouring back into people. So I started substituting when I came back, because my job as a PR guy, I really don't have a job. You know, my job is like Sundays on games, prepping stuff. So I don't have like a traditional 9 to 5. But I knew I just wanted something to make me feel whole, to make me feel like I was reaching people and I was actually doing something, making a difference. So I started substituting. So like on my off days when I wasn't doing that, I just come substitute. And before you know it, I was subbing. And then the principal was like, Mr. Morgan, you're really good at this. Like, the kids love you. They really think you're pretty good. They say you're a favorite teacher and you're not even a full-time teacher. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I become a full-time teacher? Like, you guys love me and I'm always here. Why not? So I ended up doing it because I just had a love for, the relationship that I was building with the students. I was able to pour into you guys. Like, students are writing me saying, oh man, Mr. Morgan, I was super sad, but your speech inspired me. Or Mr. Morgan, I was having a bad day, but your handshake, or you just saying good morning. And I knew that no matter how much money you had in the world, stuff like that meant the most to me. Like, just saying good morning to somebody or saying hello and putting a smile on their face. And if I knew that I could do that for somebody, I was going to do that. And I didn't know where I could do that every day. Where else better than to do it at a school? So I got my certifications and I came back, and this is actually my first full-time year teaching. I taught for 4 years. Last year I was interim and then sub, but that's why I did it. I came back because I love the reaction I get from you guys when you guys understand and figure out that I'm one of y'all. I went to the school you went to. I did what you did. There's nothing that's not attainable. So that's why I became a teacher, because I wanted people to know that all this is attainable. Look at me. If I could do it, you could do it too. And people don't believe that until you're right in front of them. So I just wanted to be right in y'all faces every day. So I just became a teacher.
Thanks, Kevius, so much.
Okay.
I think we would love to be able to stay here and continue to hear from you, because I think you've got some great words of wisdom for our amazing kids here, especially since you came from New River and you're over at South Broward. Thanks, Kevius. It was great to see you again.
Nice to see you as well. Appreciate you guys for having me. Mr. McBride, thank you. I'll be seeing you later. Ms. O'Fallon, I appreciate you. Anything I could do in the future, let me know.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys.
Have a great day, New River, and
All right, guys.
we'll
Appreciate
see
you.
soon.
Rock
Bye.
out, guys.